All right. Let me try this. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me make my face smaller and the chat bigger because I need it because of my eyes. So, and maybe some chapstick because why the hell not? So, good evening. There we go. Thank you, Becky Ridgway. You are a dear to let me know, and not in the headlights, to let me know that because I always get a little bit, and especially where the connection has been a little bit crackly occasionally when I do the YouTubes. I have my earbuds on and I'm talking through this microphone, mainly because the work continues down the basement and the gentleman who is helping us is here tonight working on some stuff. So there may be some yelling and swearing. I don't know. But hey, there we go. Lady Bandit, nice to see you. Carla Jane, nice to see you too. Notice I'm using this. There we go. Nice. Ding. Clear as a bell, says Sue. Nice to see you as well. A lot of friendly names and I would say friendly faces. But I got something. I was thinking about this. Once we get some more people, but even just the people here, not sure how many of you are part of the Pen Pal Club. And I'm still trying to figure out whether it should be pen space pal or pen pal. Regardless, one of the things I was thinking about that might be fun, G Mead, nice to see you, would be perhaps when I come back in September that we could do like a Zoom call just for the pen pal club, so you kind of get to know people's faces and things like that. If you think that's interesting, I'll put that in like the email that I send out before I kind of go on my adventures. But I just wanted to kind of mention that if you think that would be fun. Okay, Lady Bandit says she loves it. So that's a good thing too. Okay. Yeah, Mary Lou, nice to see you as well. Good evening, everybody. I've kind of got my robe here over my clothing. I'm not ready for bed just yet. And let me just angle this a little bit. Well, I just want to make sure we can see the destination when I'm pointing to it. Carla would like that too. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So what I'll do is I'm going to put a little note here. Email to group and note pen pal Zoom question mark September. See you in September. Yeah, I mean, it can be awkward. One of those, don't break the ice, whatever it is. So I'm happy to do that if it makes people feel more comfortable. Just kind of getting to know people, a little icebreaker type of thing. I love it. A pen pal party. You know it. Why call it a Zoom? See, I'm crossing out Zoom right now and I'm calling it a party, and I'll call it the pen pal party. I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Carla Jane. Now, I was just outside. It rained a bunch, which is great for the tree we planted, but my flip-flops are now wet on my feet. So let me get my body comfortable, and hopefully you're comfortable too. Drinking some water. It may make you get up in the middle of the night to pee. That's okay. If your body needs to pee, let it pee. Don't freak out about it. I hope you had a good day. I hope you got some good stuff done that you feel good about, and that you're going to take some time and write it in your road trip journal. I was writing some of that stuff, and sometimes the things that you write down can be small. Christine, hey, nice to see you. Taking delight in the small things doesn't mean that big things won't happen, but man, to be in a state of appreciation and delight and feeling good when any little thing happens. I saw a bunny on my walk. I saw a bunch of leaves falling. I still have a couple of hours. There we go. And it's on my list, says Carly. Yes, people are in different time zones and whatnot. But I just want to offer to you, if your backseat driver says that doesn't count, I am here to say they are incorrect. I'm the one who makes the rules here. And I say, I don't care how tiny a win or a good thing appears size wise, we're not comparing. If it felt like something good, I felt the sun on my face. It smelled nice after the rainstorm. I heard the birds chirping. I tasted something delicious. Maybe check in with your senses. I smelled this wonderful smell, you know, writing down some of those things, connecting up your abstract, energetic body with the human body and the five senses that that has, um, can really help you, I don't know, feel better. And that's why we're doing this, right? The decluttering is helpful, but it's also doing it to feel better. I don't want you to do it to feel worse. If you're doing the decluttering, and I mean, it's not going to feel glorious all the time, but you should be feeling good about what you're doing. And if you're not, let me know, because you know what? We can rejigger that a little bit, because my goal here is not to be like, let's have a horrible time together. It's to teach you some skills so that you're feeling better about what you see. You're feeling better about, how things function, finding stuff. And like we talk about scissors, scissors seem to be the thing this week. I pick it out because literally I have at least 5 pairs of scissors. I have one in the bathroom, one in this room, 2 pairs in the kitchen, actually 3 pair in the kitchen. And I'm sure my husband has a pair in his office, but because, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Other people may say, no, you only need one of each thing. But to me, when I am, taking off my clothes to get into my pajamas in the bathroom, and I notice that there's that itchy tag that's been bugging me all day, I want to immediately have the scissors to cut that tag out. So the quantity of what you have is decided by you. The quality of what you have is decided by you. I have some sunscreen that I probably won't buy again, because it's kind of almost like, like when milk curdles, it kind of separates the curds and whey. So it's kind of lumpy. It's not particularly glamorous looking, but it's getting the job done. And so I may not use it again, but I'll use it up. So the quality and the quantity of what you keep is 100% up to you. Um, Everything really about this whole process is up to you. It really is. I know, and Carla and I were talking about it today. I remember when I first started, this was prior to getting my certification in life coaching. And a friend of mine had gotten hers from another place, not from where I got mine. And so she said, would you like me to like kind of coach you through things that will give me practice? And I just wanted her to send me like the formula, like do this, 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 and this, and then you'll be successful. No, that's not what it was all about. It's more about, what do I want to do? What do I think should happen? How am I going to do this? Because finding a way to get creative with your brain and to decide things and then to act on your decisions. Um, I just saw Carla's thing. Let me try to finish. Uh, Learning to problem solve yourself, growing your brain, not relying on somebody else. Not to say you can't have help, but being able to rely on yourself to figure some stuff out is a wonderful tool. To not be over reliant on other people telling you what to do, but saying, what do I want to do? How do I want to do this? And trusting that how you want to do it, there's some good stuff in there. Now, this is fun because we were talking about the quantity and quality of things that you have. So Carla Jane says she got some deodorant that smells like powder, not coconuts. But I will have a backup if I need it. I will share with you, yeah, the smell of things. I it is a core memory. You know how they say like core memory unlocked? The smell of copper tone um suntan lotion, that's what we would call it back in the day, is such a memory from when I was a little kid that I like, that just takes me back. The coconut stuff reminds me of junior high and high school when people were using like Hawaiian Tropic or the stuff that smelled like you were going to the tropics. But copper tone to me is like that core, like 60s Atlantic Ocean beach stuff. So yeah, having a smell that you like is important both for your underarms and for your home. but you'll have a backup if you desperately need it, right? So let me ask you this. I know that the evening YouTubes have a different vibe, a different pace, a different feeling than the ones that are kind of early in the morning and we're, quasi bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But let me ask you this. What would you like to talk about tonight? How can I help you? What is something that you're struggling with? What would what would help you out? I'll give you a moment while I take a sip here and put it in the comments. I can talk for a long time, but I'd rather engage. I love seeing the interaction. It's great. Oh, that's funny. Oh, actually, no. Okay, sorry. Getting myself distracted. Okay, Lady Bandit. I am trying to get myself on a schedule and it's hard. Okay. Um, okay. Haha, we can talk about how we are all feeling the same thing, but too ashamed to say. Yep, I get it. So, Lady Bandit, what kind of schedule are you trying to get yourself on? Is it like a daily schedule, a monthly schedule? Is it like um, is it for school? Is it for working out? Is it for doing some crafts? Why are you trying to get yourself on a schedule? Put that in the comments. Give me some context. Okay. Daily routines. Okay. And let me ask you this because I do struggle with my daily routines. Like literally, I heavily rely on the as I look at it right here, no lie, my habit tracker. Trying to make time for workout and crafting. Okay. So what I am sensing, the tools that we use, the tools that are available to us would be your habit tracker and also your daily roadmap. So let me ask you this, and please know, everybody. I remember somebody said something earlier today on the TikTok about, oh, I love this class. I am just a friend hanging out with you. I'm not your teacher. So if I ask you, are you using these tools? And the answer is no, please do not be afraid to say, no, I'm not using them. Do not be afraid to say I'm not using them. But Lady Bandit, are you using either the habit tracker or the daily, doing like the daily road mapper? Because I will share with you, okay, I'm constantly working and getting sidetracked with family. Okay, so here's what I hear from that. And I love that with each sentence, you are kind of filling out, you're fleshing out um, the story, the picture. Because now what I hear is, so I'm constantly working and getting sidetracked with family. Okay, so I get that. I get that. What I'm hearing though from that sentence, I will share with you, is boundaries, is taking time for yourself, making time for yourself. So, one of the things that can help with that is to practice not being so available. I don't know how to say this. Like you want to be available for people, but sometimes you know that there are certain times that it's going to be easier for you to do things when you're not kind of getting sidetracked with family. There are going to be interruptions for things. There are family and friends and life is going to happen. What is it that they say? Life is what happens when you make other plans. You can have a plan, but if you're constantly working, are you working too much, not enough, the right amount? I would get curious. So even to me, yeah, even to me, it would be let's say you work a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So each one of your days has the 9 to 5 with one block. Okay, yes. See, this is the trick. And you say, I work from home, and that doesn't help. This is where practicing focusing and literally and metaphorically kind of shutting the door to concentrate on what's important to you can be an extra challenge. People probably would not have called you up at the office or come and visited you at the office just to ask you some goofy question about, where's my tie or something. And yet, when we are in our homes, sometimes folks forget that you're actually doing a real job. It's not just like you're farting around. Okay. Now, Ahad, I see you saying stuff, but with love and respect or whatever, I'm just going to remove you because you know what? I just have a feeling you may be trying to be nice, but I am going to just mute you, my dear. Okay. So anyhow, notice where you are in the habit of allowing yourself to be interrupted. I remember talking about this, even it's shutting the door and saying, office hours. I can get back to you at a certain time. And making time for yourself is not encouraged by our society. Women, especially, I will say, are expected to be at other people's beck and call at the drop of a hat. Making time for yourself can also feel a little bit or be, told, depending upon where you grew up and, who's in charge, selfish. How can you pay attention to yourself if somebody else needs you? So there's a lot to that. So I would say start small. Okay. So what I would say is trying to make time for workout and crafting is maybe you use your habit tracker. You can start it. This is the good thing about the habit tracker. You can start it at any day. Like I started mine on Monday, August 4th. I did not start it at the first of the month. Okay. Putting there, working out for 10 minutes, something small, put it on your habit tracker, but then take a look at the time you have. And I'm flipping here. Like, for example, this is, the template that we use. Friday, August 15th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then say to yourself, when would be a good time for me to try to work out, even for just 15 or 20 minutes, starting small versus just to start. Are you a morning workout person? Do you like to break up your day and maybe go for a walk around the block? Are you more of an evening workout person? And start to put it in there. And what I will say is just practice showing up even for that 10 minutes. Practice it. Schedule it. If you know people interrupt you from these things, maybe you schedule those things at times that people won't interrupt you. But also, we allow ourselves to be treated certain ways, and we may not even realize it. But when you think you're doing a good thing and being interruptible at people's, somebody, leans their head in, that can be helpful to them, but obviously it's not being helpful to you. It's not being helpful to you because you're trying to make time for working out and crafting, but you're feeling frustrated because you're not working out and you're not crafting. Now, crafting, is that something you want to do every day? Like, how many days of the week will you feel good? Even coming up, you could start small. I'm going to try to craft for an hour next week, and at least that's better than nothing. And hey, y'all, yes, Leslie. Hi, y'all. I love it. Leslie is saying hi, y'all, just like Carla. Taking time and making time for yourself is an act of self-care. Saying no to something to say yes to yourself can feel weird if you're not used to it. But it is so important for you to do that. Also, frankly, so that your relationship with your family or your work feels a little bit better than building resentment about not being able to do what you want because you're always getting sidetracked with family, you know? Does that help, Lady Bandit, at all? I hope it does. If not, please feel free to call me on it and ask follow-up questions. But I know that boundaries may feel a little bit awkward if you're not used to it, but it is such a good habit to get into, to not even feel awkward about, hey, thank you so much, but no. Or, you know what? I can help you with that, but I will get back to you in 15 minutes. If this is a true medical emergency, dial 911. Other than that, leave a message, put a post-it on my door. I've got my timer set, you know? Yeah, and start small. I'm going to try it starting tomorrow. I love that. Start small, because starting small helps you to just get started. A lot of times we get all like kind of revved up, and then we think we're going to like do all this stuff. So I say start small and just start. Yeah. Now I love it. Now Leslie says, I heard someone on TikTok say, I can show up for myself 20 to 30 minutes a day. And that was a revelation. I've been exercising 20 to 30 minutes a day ever since I heard that, because life is too short. Yeah. You show up for other people. How much time are you showing up for yourself? And when you show up for yourself, you will feel better when you're interacting with other people, instead of being resentful for them interrupting you. Now, I will admit, part of my ADHD, or how I'm wired, is I like to focus on things, and my husband doesn't mind being interrupted as much as I do. And I love it. Of course, I can barely walk. Yes, I hear you on that one. I can be a little bit short when I am saying to my husband, I will get to in a moment, because I really value my time getting stuff done. Just give it a shot. Notice when you allow yourself to be interrupted. And maybe it's one of these things, like I'm thinking of a client I used to have who had some young daughters who were in the habit of constantly just walking up to mom, regardless of what she was doing, even though she was working from home at her high-powered job, and interrupting her. But the mom didn't want to be the bad mom. And so she allowed herself to be interrupted, but then in the meantime, some resentment began to build. So there's that saying, right? Some of these old timey sayings, like, I don't know, like I was going to say a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I don't really know what that one means, but I'm thinking of this one. Good fences make good neighbors. Having some distance, posting. I mean, it could be as silly as, but as serious as making light of a serious thing. Posting your office hours. I am going to be working until 6 p.m. today. Unless it's a true medical emergency, please do not interrupt me. And I promise I will have time for you after I clock out. Think about back in the day when people were working, women were working at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Nobody could interrupt them there. You were working for somebody else. Now the lines are kind of blurred lines, as the old song would say, the little line dancey song. The lines are blurred between professional time and space and personal time and space, especially when we work at home. So erecting some barriers, some boundaries, and informing people of this, to be like, hey, I know I used to be able to be interrupted. I used to allow you to interrupt me, but it's grating on me, and I don't want to feel that way. So this is what I would like to try. Can you practice, looking at my office hours and showing up during that time? Or can you practice getting the answer to what it is any other way? Because this is the thing too. We like to feel useful and helpful, but when we do something for somebody else, we are not giving them the opportunity to grow their problem-solving, decision-making brain, their curiosity brain. If they always know that they don't have to find where something is and they can just ask mom or wife or daughter or whoever you are, then you become the resource and they never learn to find these things for themselves. Like if you think about it, for example, they would never create the association with where are the scissors because they don't they just ask you and you tell them where it is. So it may feel like in the short term that being interruptible is a good thing. And again, in a true medical emergency, yes, the flexibility of being interruptible, yay, that we're not working on the assembly line at the Ford factory. But in the long run, it can build resentment in you because you're trying desperately to focus and then you're losing your focus and then you have to come back and that can drain your your nervous system. And then also you are not allowing them to again grow their problem solving brain to try something that didn't work. I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it is better than could you help me with it? Sounds a lot better than I haven't even started looking and I'm just going to rely on you to be the answers. Okay. Now, this is funny because I was trying to be very articulate, so I wasn't looking at the comments lest I stumble on my words. And Carla Jane is like, woo, Beth preaching a word tonight. Yes. Testify, testify, you know, but it is really important. And especially if you are a person who struggles with finally getting focused on something and then being distracted. Now, I know that that runs in my family because my mother has told me stories of her as a kid in school. You just finally get absorbed in something and then you have to shift it. So knowing that that is something that can be triggering, I guess the kids say, but something that bugs you, what can you do to change that dynamic? And there are many ways to do that. So just something to play around with. Just something to play around with. That's one of the reasons, frankly, why my husband and we have a shared calendar. So he knows exactly when I'm coaching and things like that. I love it. Lady Bandit, I have been healed. Beth is the best. Yes. Look, I'm the Pope. Here. I'm blessing you all. Here, have some holy water. I love it. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. I love it. Because I hear Barbara just said 54 years later, I still remember calling mom, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy down the school stairs. And my mom finally replying, stop momming me. Yeah. Yeah. Because at a certain age, kids rely on their moms 100%. I mean, breastfeeding, carrying them around, all that kind of stuff. But at a certain point, the distancing allows them to build their independence. And that's a wonderful thing. Yet, if you derive some sort of benefit from being the person to, you know, be the problem solver and answerer, then you're also training them kind of, I used to call it like reverse training. Like you're training them how to treat you. You're training them to say, mom is always interruptible because I interrupt her and she drops what she's doing to help me with what I'm doing. And again, occasionally, on a case by case basis, there can be nothing, there can be something good about that. But deciding when that is appropriate, when it's really, I've exercised, yeah. So, yeah. And Barbara says, I resent the expectation for teachers to spend more than a little time and own money preparing our classrooms. I spend time and money because I love my students and want to bless them, but I resent the expectation. And I say 100%. I say 100%. I think that is appalling, frankly, because I grew up in a time, and I will admit this, I remember showing up third grade, 1970, whatever, and going to Mrs. Glore's class and getting a pencil and a regular pencil and like a regular pencil and a red pencil and a ruler and an eraser and maybe a pair of scissors, though we may have had like a cigar box full of scissors that we would just grab from. And you got paper there. So I think it's appalling that teachers are expected to pay for that stuff. And, I don't think, and here's the funny thing too. is they expect a lot of those kind of women's roles to do a lot of those things. They would never expect, a male professor to do something like that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. See? I love this. And Lady Bandit says, "Yeah, I so get it." Yeah, and here's you guys, this is great because Carla Jane says, "I realized this morning I don't know how to manage my time because I was always managing somebody else's. What do I want? I don't know. I've never asked myself that." Well, I will tell you right now. What do I want? 2025. What do I want? 2024. What do I want to happen? 2023. It can be unusual to ask yourself that question, but the more you ask it, the more you'll hear an answer come back. Now, if you're not used to asking yourself that, it might be kind of quiet or I don't know. But I don't know is just kind of almost like I think of it as like I always want to say like the mulligan or it's like the toss away phrase. Like you do that, it's like the cork in the bottle to get it out of the way. And after you say, I don't know, you say, well, what if I did know? What do I want? And it can feel weird if you haven't done it in a while. So, yes, great question. What do I want? Notice, you guys, when we talk about decluttering, what do I want, dot, 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 my decluttered home to look like? What do I want my decluttered home to function like? What do I want to feel when I am in my home? Practicing answering that what do I want question. What do I want for dinner? What do I want to wear today? What do I want to spend my time on? And write those things down. Yeah. Yes. And Judy Dukes is saying, yes, exactly. And nice to see you, Judy. Just starting to get my 24-year-old to look for her stuff herself instead of asking me. Now, notice that if she's only just starting this at 24, first of all, yay for that, and not when she's 44. So there's that. But also notice that you probably had a dynamic from years 0 to 23 where you would find it for her, you would answer it for her. So you're kind of, we're all kind of complicit in those things, you know? Yeah. Yeah, and Carla Jane, isn't it interesting? Carla says, for the first time in my life, I don't have to ask someone else or include what they want. And I'm 51. Well, I'm 59 now because I had my birthday. And yeah, and what I say, it can feel different when you're used to having decades worth of considering everybody else, but practice considering yourself. One of the things I have my inspo notes all over the place. What do I want? I will hang these up shortly. But also, one of the things I have, and I wrote this down within the past couple of months, I get to do anything I want to do whenever I want to do it. Some people say adulting is all that stuff. And I was like, no, adulting means I get to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And that may feel unusual, you know? Now, Judy Duke says, you would have smiled at this. We were working on my daughter's room and she said, why are you sorting this? It was great to hear. Yeah. And Judy, notice you are in the habit of doing that. I will share one of my sisters, one of her children just graduated college and the other one is just literally en route back to his sophomore year in college. And so for the last 18, 19, 25 years, however many, she has been the problem solver, the doer, the fixer, and all that. And I see her kind of saying, oh, yeah, like now what do I do? If the kids are not in the house and my husband's got his job, my job of momming and helping out and solving problems and getting stuff done and feeling, being a good parent is changing now. And it can be unusual, but it really can be good for you and the other people to do things on your own. Now, the way my life is set up, it's just my husband and me. I don't have kids. I don't have pets. We've got one plant. Knocking on wood, I'm not gonna kill it. Um, so I know I'm speaking a little bit from a different perspective than many of you have, but I think there's some definite truth in there. Yeah, and isn't it interesting, you guys, how many teachers are here? How many teachers we have here? I have coached teachers before, and teachers are awesome people. Teachers are the people that help raise other kids. You are setting this stuff up because you love it, but also saving things just in case, you know, answering the questions for the kids. I just find it fascinating. And my hat goes off to teachers. It really does. And I'm not even wearing a hat, but it really does, because you do so much more than I think people realize. And I have friends who are teachers, and I know that they get a lot of guff from parents, and they don't get the appreciation that they deserve, you know? And what I would offer is, with all of y'all, notice me, Carla, I'm saying the y'all, is write down when you have what do I want. Now, I have it written down on just a little thing from my, inspo calendar, because I got into the habit of that. What do I want? Put it at the top of an empty page and put that page somewhere you can see it. And the answer may not come, but when something comes up, write it down. What do I want? Oh, I'd like to go see that movie. And notice the things that come across your kind of vision that kind of perk up your heart, you know, and say, you know what, that might be interesting, versus, I could do that. The kind of yay, the green light in your heart. Notice the things that kind of trigger that green light, like, oh, that could be interesting, you know? Yeah. Yeah. And Judy Dukes is saying, going back to her daughter, yes, it was easier to just find it, but it definitely wasn't helping her. So, yes, think about the difference between that short-term solving of the problem yourself. Here, let me just do it myself, versus the longer range kind of scalability of this. Am I helping her in the long run by doing this for her? Or will it really be an act of love to help her grow her problem solving and feeling able to not be so dependent? Yeah, teachers are pack rats, but pack rats because, as Barbara says, almost nothing is garbage when teaching K-5 art. Right? Anything could be. And honestly, a lot of decluttering or cluttered people, we see potential. We see value in things that other people just don't see, and they would just, they would just throw it away. I think that's a really cool thing. You see potential in little kids. You see that. You want to unlock that potential for them. And then, yes, you notice when you're doing it in the classroom, and then saving stuff just in case followed me into my personal belongings. Yeah. Okay. And Carla Jane knows of which she speaks. So even though Carla Jane is of our age, Carla Jane's mom did a lot for her. She says, I beg you, please don't do that. We wind up not knowing how to do anything when we are grown. I learned to boil water after my son was born, and I am not even kidding. Now, I know that we do things for other people for many reasons, and one of them is love for that other person. And especially if you grew up in a time where somebody didn't do those things for you. I do see this, frankly, as an observer of the generation below me, or even just, frankly, younger Gen Xers who grew up as latchkey kids, who then kind of overparent because there was a lack of parenting and involvement, and you were told to figure out on yourself, and that felt like abandonment. It didn't sound like encouragement. you know? And and I don't mean to say it in a like it's I say this as you said to Judy, you've opened my eyes to this. And the neat thing is, it's not too late. It's not too late to change that with anybody else in your life. I mean, even my husband. I know where everything is, but I say to him, haven't you lived here as long as I have? Have you looked for those scissors? And sometimes I actually say, go look for it yourself. And if you can't figure it out, then come and get me. I mean, I don't mean to parent, but I also don't want him to be reliant on me as the problem solver. Um, and Leslie, I love that you're saying to Carla Jane, be proud of what you have learned and how we can all do better. Yeah. And we're all learning stuff, no matter what age we are. The age you are when you learned how to boil water, the age you were when you learned where the scissors were, Yeah. And Leslie says, sometimes I tell my husband, I'm not his personal assistant. At one point, frankly, my husband said to me something like, and I said, oh, this is so romantic because I remember stuff. And he's like, oh, you're like my external hard drive. And I'm like, oh, that's so romantic. Now, we laugh about these things because if we didn't, we'd be pissed off at each other a wicked lot. But I say to you, notice where you think to yourself, like Judy says, like, I thought it was easier to just do it for them. And now I realize that it would be better to help them grow. Yeah, exactly. No, they didn't mean it. And this is one of the things that learning in life coaching, consider the positive intent. You may have felt like, and Carla used the word twice right here in her comment, they didn't mean to cripple me. So you felt crippled, but know that that was not their intention. They thought they were doing something good. They thought they were doing something good, you know? And so when you understand a bit and you look at, frankly, the people in your life as just other people on this planet trying to figure stuff out, you know? And this is why I get why my mom did things the way she did when she was raising us. I totally have a better perspective of it than I did when I was a little kid. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm sitting here on the steps because mom's not home and I forgot my key and I have to wait because I can't get in because the basement window is locked. And I'm going to sit here, you know. So I could see it from that perspective, but I also get the context of what was going on and also why, those things. Yeah, and Leslie says, as a parent, I hope my kids give me grace. And I honestly, I know they will. I know they will. Maybe they should be already because we're all just humans on this planet, learning as we go. Learning as we go. I'm learning this stuff, as I said, 59 years old. I'm just figuring out a lot of really good shit in my life in the last 5 to 7 years. Before that, I had a certain amount going on, but man, there was like a percentage gap of stuff that I was like, I have no idea. But I was open to learning, you know? Yeah. And Carla Jane says, I was adopted and an only child. They were older. Her parents were older. They both had to do for their families as kids. And because they thought they were making up for it, they knew as kids they didn't want to be taken care of the family. So they didn't put you in that role. And yet it has its own kind of side effects. Yeah. Oh, Leslie, Beth, this is the best hour of my week. Well, I am honored by that, but ma'am, we got to get you some better hours because you need you need more than 1 hour in your week, okay? And I am only doing the TikTok lives and the YouTube lives. I got to check the secret page. The secret page. Where is it? Yeah, it's crazy. Thursday, Friday, TikTok lives, YouTube lives. Saturday declutter party. I don't even know. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't even know if anybody is signed up for Saturday's declutter party. If you're interested in it, please show up. Okay, but seriously, Judy Dukes, or excuse me, Leslie, in the what do I want? I want more good hours of my week. I want to experiment with and try things out that would increase my delight, and I would feel good of like I do when Beth's doing an evening TikTok live, right? Um, so we're all just trying to figure this stuff out. We are. And the neat thing is, oh, Mary Lou, you signed up. Awesome. Okay, cool. Because I haven't checked, I'll be honest. And I don't mean to sound that as a diss. I just hadn't focused on that because a lot's going on. What we're doing right now, if you think about it, is we are evolving. We are evolving. We're building off of what we learned from the previous generations, and we are doing better. We are endeavoring to do better than the generations before us, as they did before them, as they forgave those who trespassed against them and led them not into temptation, but delivered us from evil. And if you don't watch it, I'll recite the whole goddamn Catholic mass to you because my friend Jeannie and I crack up at the fact that that stuff is embedded like nobody's business. Okay. But I say, you know what? This is what, to me, honestly, not to get too deep, this is what humans are supposed to do, is improve and expand and understand and not stay so rigid to things. But when people get power, they cling on to that and they don't want to give it up. So I say to you, we are doing some good stuff here. We are seeing where we came from. We're noticing where we are based on that and saying, I'm going to keep some of the stuff from the olden days. I like that stuff. That was helpful stuff. But the other stuff that's not helpful and it can be harmful to me and to other people, ways of thinking about other people, ways of speaking about other people, ways of acting around other people, that stuff I will leave behind. I will not carry that forward with me. If you're decluttering kind of the stuff that your family has left you, it's not all boxes of china and magazines and clothes. It can also be ways of thinking and feeling and judging and words to use to describe people, deciding what you want to continue on and what you want to leave behind and leave that with the other generation. That's another way, Ooh, I love it. We are women of discernment. Yes, we are discerning. We are deciding what we want to keep in our lives and to bring forward into the future, and what deserves to just die in the past, to just fall away and start to disintegrate. And I can't think of the word, but like when a corpse just kind of dissolves. Okay. So notice that about what you are bringing forward in the world. I look at what I'm doing right now, frankly, is I don't care. I was thinking about this the other day. I am taking pictures when we were away in Chicago, and I am taking pictures for me. I am so explicit with my nieces and nephew, and if I'm not, I'm going to make sure that they know this, that I don't want them to blink an eye if they delete every single picture I ever took. Okay? And I offer to you, what kind of role model do you want to be? Now I love this because I was saying that, and Judy Duke says, I think I looked for the things for her because the house wasn't organized and that was my fault. I get that. That is such good insight, Judy Dukes. Thankfully, since listening to Beth, things are finding homes now. Yeah. So understand the context of it. Don't be so quick to judge other people or yourself, but understand that we all got here from a certain way. And I love that now that you're learning, Judy Dukes, about finding homes for things and practicing the habit of putting them there to create the deeper neural pathways in your brain to say, that's where those scissors go. That's where this is, that you're getting your x-ray specs, that you can be sitting in one room and know exactly what is in that upper drawer of the Paul McCobb desk in the living room versus what's in the lower drawer of it. So developing a better way of doing things for where you're living now, and you are sharing your knowledge of how to do that stuff with your daughter. And Carla Jane, you're doing the same thing, digging out your mom's stuff, but you are teaching your daughter and your son and your grandkids. You are leading by example, saying, I don't have to be like G was, my Grammy was. I don't have to be like my mother was. There was some good things about her that I will pull with me and I will keep in me. And there are other things we will let that die with that generation. And yeah, physically doing it and methodically, there's a method to it. And deciding what you want to keep, it really is curating your life and saying, what are the things I want? Do I want the things that make me feel crappy? No. Maybe I'll learn from them. And then I learn from the thing I did and I do something different. I snapped at my husband the other morning because he was telling me a story he had told me again. And I was just really shot him down. And as I walked away, because I was going someplace, I said, I was a real jerk right then. And then as soon as I got home, I said, I have to apologize to you. I apologize to you for snapping at you like that. That was really mean of me, and I shouldn't have done that. So I learned to speak up and say when I was wrong. This is my Gen X brain is going to be like, unlike the Fawns who couldn't even say the word wrong, right? I admitted when I screwed up. And he appreciated that. And maybe the next time I think I'm going to be snapping to shut him down, I will stop that. I will let that habit fade out a little bit. Yeah. And we're showing our kids that we continue to evolve and always getting better. Yeah, I think that is such a great legacy to even just model that kind of behavior in your life right now, no matter what age you are, to model that, continuing to grow and expand and learn and stay engaged with life as long as you can, as opposed to just giving up and saying, well, I guess I'm retired. I guess I'll just, I don't know what to do, so I'll do nothing. Don't be that kind of, I know you're not that kind of people because I don't hang out with that kind of people. Okay. But when you have the, what do I want? Question mark. I want, what is that? A colon? Put a piece of paper up. Write down, what do I want? Get used to asking that question. And when something it says I want, you write it down. And the fun thing is, it's kind of like going to the grocery store. I want, an ice cream sandwich. I want to travel to the Maldives. I said that the other day, and that's coming up again. Why? I don't know, because it looks cool and it's halfway across the country. Yeah, and I this is really neat. And Carla Jane says, I'm kind of excited to learn the answers. I love that because being afraid of learning the answers shuts you down and stops you from looking. But that kind of excited, like, ooh, this is kind of cool. It's an adventure, as Leslie says. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. Isn't this that kind of thing will get you leaning in and opening up so that you do learn the answers of what am I doing here? I'll share this with you. I haven't finished the book. I barely started it. But there was a woman who I saw a bunch on TikTok. I think she was promoting her book. And her book is called, I believe it's called New Happy. And it's talking about the old way in which happiness was defined, and how that sets people up for failure. Saying you're not enough. If I can remember this, I was just reading it on the couch in the tiki room. You're not enough. You have to work hard and you need to buy a lot of stuff. And that sets you up for failure. And again, I'm just pages into the beginning of this book, but one of the things she says is one of the ways to create true happiness, new happy, as it were, is to kind of find out be cool with who you are and kind of be in service to others, helping other people. Those two things set you up to be much more of a happy camper than feeling like you're not enough and you have to work hard and you need to buy a lot of stuff. I know myself right now. I know myself better than I ever have in decades past. And I freaking love being of help to people. And that's why I'm here, connecting with people and sharing these ideas. This truly makes me happy. So she's got something. That book, I'll tell you how it is, but if it sounds interesting to you, feel free to look it up. But I will say, think of getting to know yourself more before you die. You know, dying and not knowing who you were, it's kind of a bummer, don't you think? You know? Yeah, and Judy Dukes, building good habits for a peaceful home. Well, if that doesn't sound like something, good habits for a peaceful home. I'm building that. Little building blocks, right? Little step by step, little, building that pyramids, building those things with the wooden blocks. Good habits for a peaceful home. And what do I want? I want a peaceful home. How do I get that? Is it peaceful? We often think of peace being like a sound and quiet, peace and quiet. But peaceful is like a feeling. It's a peaceful, easy feeling, right? Just like the what do you call it? The Eagles, you know? Oh, Carla Jane, light bulb moment. She says, I didn't know me outside of wife, daughter, mom, kid. I didn't realize it till today. Light bulb moment. Yeah. You can be all those and whatever the hell else you want to be. Really. And that can be really exciting. It is. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. I was a girlfriend. I'm a wife. I'm an ex-wife. I'm an auntie. I'm a cousin. There's so many things like that, but also I can be whoever I want. And you're like, ooh, I don't know. Who do I want to be? Sometimes I want to be the person who just shows up in her pajamas and hasn't bathed. Other times, and I will share this with you guys, I wore the polka dot dress that I tried on during one of the declutter parties. I wore it when we saw Herb Alpert. It was even a little bit big. I was surprised because I couldn't fit into it before. I felt so snazzy in it. I loved how I felt in it. So who do I want to be? I want to be the person that even though people were dressed down at this show, a lot of people were, I liked being the person who showed up in her funky dress. I want to be the person who is friendly to the person who's a jerk. And I also want to be the person who rises above. Yeah. Okay. Leslie M says, I love that dress. I was at that party. Yes. And I promised, I didn't know when I also was going to wear it because your brain is like a stove sometimes. There's a lot on the back burner. And sometimes it takes a while and then the idea bubbles up. You could wear that when you see Herb Alpert. They did play Rise, Carla Jane. Now, my husband doesn't like that song. Whatever. And I said, I had the 45 back in the day. Okay. I will tell you, I think I even said it that night. And granted, I had a cocktail. I will sign off with this to kind of show, swim over to the shallow end of the pool. We get there and they typically will have a bespoke cocktail for a show. I can't remember, like for example, when we went to go see Barry Manilow, there was one that was probably called the Copa Banana or something. And they had one that was called oh crap, what was it? A Taste of Honey, right? Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da. So I had one of those. So I had a cocktail. But I will tell you, Herb Alpert was such an inspiration. The man is 90 years old. He is out there doing what he loves. He is making money and supporting other people. At one point, he is there and he's playing the trumpet and he is still engaged in what he's doing. He's not phoning it in. And this was really cool too, is that we had seen him literally like 13, 14 years ago with his wife, Lanny Hall, who was one of the women who was the singers in Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66. It was a surprise to me. She came on stage and did a quick medley of some of the Brazil 66 songs when he was there. And I was snapping photos. And as I looked at those photos, he is just looking over at her, beaming like a freaking cutie pie, looking at his wife of like 50 some odd years, And let's all be like Herb Alpert, okay? Be 90 years old. Be engaged in what you're doing. Look at things around you with love and engagement and be excited about stuff, okay? Don't just start to die before you've started to live, okay? So Yay, Carla Jane. I love that you love this time tonight. Yes, and the funny thing is, there is always a different vibe about these evening YouTube lives. That's one of the reasons I try to put them in as often as I do. Now, we've got some early morning ones tomorrow and Friday, and then the declutter party on Saturday. And it sounds like people who are on the pen pal list will have a pen pal party, and we'll just hang out and we'll get to know each other and stuff. Okay. Always a good idea to hang out with you all. This is good stuff. Go to bed with a full heart. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.